But when you look at this thing through the data says that it wasn't just Caitlin Clark that had a hard time getting to the free throw line. It was the entire Indiana Fever basketball team. Yes, there was a secret agenda against Caitlin Clark when it comes to fouls not being called, when it comes to her getting to the free throw line. But now we know they made it to the playoffs to play Connecticut. But what if I was to tell you there was data shown that the Indiana Fever could have possibly won game 2, sent the game back to Indiana? We could have had a different story.
Did you know Caitlin Clark got fouled 17 times in her first 3 WNBA games and only shot 4 free throws? That's not normal for someone handling the ball as much as she does.
But before any of that stuff could even get done, we have to take a look at the misguided missile that can destroy everything this upcoming season, and that is the WNBA referees. And some footage has been released of the WNBA referees' secret agenda against Caitlin Clark. The biggest hurdles for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever last season was the WNBA referees. Now, the front office made it their business to revamp the team, bring in more aggressive players to help them get further in the WNBA.
I've analyzed every single one of her games, and what I found was shocking. There's actual footage of refs watching Clark get hammered and just swallowing their whistles. This isn't just bad officiating, it looks deliberate. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
Now, we know she was physically assaulted on numerous occasions, but a lot of those fouls wasn't flagrant 1 fouls. They wasn't personal fouls. They was just regular fouls. This is irrelevant going into the 2025 season. And I'm here to tell you, this is not irrelevant. We got to talk about this because everybody is forgetting what exactly happened last year to Caitlin. Now, her very first WNBA game. See, no one paid attention to the referees. That's what we need to watch throughout this season that is coming up, is these referees.
Ever notice how some players get every call while others can't buy a whistle? That's exactly what we're seeing with Caitlin Clark. The evidence is right there on tape and it's impossible to ignore. From her very first WNBA game, there's been a disturbing pattern with how referees have treated the rookie sensation. Let's break this down. The footage from Clark's debut is eye-opening. There she is, driving to the basket, clearly getting hit on the arm, no call, and another play where she's absolutely destroyed.
They are the ones that can make or break a season. I'm telling you right now, there was an agenda against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, and I'm finna expose it right now.
A touch foul on the player the people are there to see.
Harris has it popped in the air. Thomas is going to be fouled by Clark.
Up for her first game. The time's winding down in the first half, and you'll see she gets hit on the arm.
I think we went up really strong a lot of times, and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle, but...
While attacking the rim, still nothing from the refs. And guess what? The officials weren't even in bad position. They were right there, staring directly at these fouls happening in front of their faces. You know what makes this even crazier? When you look at the numbers, Clark had the ball in her hands more than any other point guard in the entire league. That's not my opinion. That's fact. Yet somehow, she only averaged 4 free throw attempts per game. 4. That makes absolutely 0 sense. The player who handles the ball the most is typically the one who gets to the line the most. That's just basketball 101. Now, let's compare that to other stars. Aja Wilson averaged 7 free throw attempts per game. Angel Reese? She was getting to the line 5.2 times per game. The disparity is wild when you consider Clark's ball handling volume and how often she was attacking the basket. Something doesn't add up here. What's even more telling is when you look at specific instances throughout the season. Play after play shows Clark getting clearly fouled with refs choosing not to blow their whistles. There's one clip where she's literally getting hammered while shooting a three, and the ref is standing 5 feet away with a perfect angle. Nothing. Another where she's knocked to the floor on a drive, and again, silence from the officials who are right there watching it happen. This wasn't just happening in blowouts or meaningless regular season games. These no calls were happening in critical moments too. In one pivotal fourth quarter situation, Clark gets hit across both arms while attempting a game-tying shot. The referee is positioned perfectly, looking directly at the play, and swallows the whistle. How does that happen? And let's talk about the Indiana Fever as a team. Despite having one of the league's most aggressive players in Clark, they weren't even in the top 5 for free throw attempts. Meanwhile, the Connecticut Sun, the team that knocked them out of the playoffs, led the entire WNBA in free throws. Coincidence? I'm not so sure. Remember when Angel Reese made those comments about Clark getting a special whistle? The irony is almost painful. The data shows the complete opposite was happening. Clark wasn't getting special treatment. She was getting unfair treatment. Consistently denied calls that players like Reese were regularly receiving. One game in particular stands out. Clark was fouled at least 6 times in a single quarter with 0 calls. 0. Meanwhile, on the other end, ticky-tack fouls were being called for the opposing team's stars. The double standard couldn't have been more obvious. And we're not talking about borderline plays. These were clear, obvious fouls that would have been called for any other star player in the league. The video evidence is damning. Play after play shows Clark getting hit, pushed, bumped, and knocked down with refs standing right there, perfectly positioned to see everything, yet choosing not to blow their whistles. It's one thing to miss a call because of a bad angle or being screened off. It's entirely another to stare directly at a foul and ignore it. When you put all the pieces together, the video evidence, the statistical anomalies, the consistent pattern throughout the season, it's hard to come to any conclusion other than there was some kind of bias happening. A player with Clark's usage rate and playing style should be living at the free throw line. Instead, she was routinely denied calls that other stars received without question. Just imagine for a second if this was happening to any other top draft pick in sports. The outrage would be overwhelming. But somehow, when it happens to Clark, we're supposed to just accept it as part of the game. That doesn't make any sense. So let's put it all together. What's really going on here? I can't sit here and tell you there's definitely some conspiracy against Caitlin Clark. But come on, you saw the footage yourself. The question isn't whether Clark is getting a fair whistle anymore, it's why the league is letting this happen. This is bigger than just one player. When officiating isn't consistent, it damages the entire WNBA's credibility. Fans notice this stuff. The league needs to step up before next season and ensure all players get equal treatment under the rules, regardless of who they are or how much attention they bring to the game.